PC and BZA December meeting of 2024. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, as far as last month, for the BZA, we have minutes, but we do not have enough people to vote on. Well, we got 3 of us.
Yep.
That's enough for us to vote on.
You got a quorum.
So, for the last month's minutes, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as they are for November 2024.
You'll second.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it's approved. And we have nothing for this evening, nobody seeking a zoning appeal from where I've read Pete. Okay, we'll close the BZA portion. And we'll move on to the PC. I know where we had left off our previous meetings that we had was the wayfinding signs. Dave was looking into that, and then I had given some stuff to Pete about the map and updating that, which you've been talking with.
There's some of the same changes been made.
Okay.
Tony's property's been rezoned to R2.
And they're giving you the ability to go in and look at the map to get it up to date to the way it's supposed to be. You tell them, they change it and they put it back. And then I gave you a list of properties. I know you had discussed yours was listed as like the school, educational, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Institutional.
yeah, there you go.
It's listed as institutional, but if I go into any of the other real estate systems, it says residential.
Right. Yeah, see, that's what we were finding on the map, that they just weren't
Yeah,
color
yours should
coded.
be
wrong.
R5.
But it doesn't say, I mean, on the map, it's color coded as institutional.
That's what we're
That's
trying
an
to.
easy fix. So we can just tell Banning to update that.
Because if you're institutional, I have so many options.
Yeah. Might be because you're so smart, is that what it is?
Put a million.
Yeah, because Pete, you were telling me that was easy for them to update, just to get it correct, because I identified probably 5 or 6 properties, I think, parcels that weren't right. And then he had his. Did you see any more to let Pete know?
All of Dwayne Lane's properties are incorrectly identified on there, so we're gonna get those updated to R3. I talked with Banning about that map. Once we publish it on the website, we can't go in and change those things. Banning can update at the touch of a button, but if they give us permission to change that, it opens it up to anybody who gets on the site can manipulate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I told them, well, we don't want that,
Right.
because we don't want just
All we gotta
anybody.
do is a phone call. and
That's
They
fine.
can almost do it the
Right,
same
so-
day.
Yeah, because you just call them, we identify if you call them,
Yeah.
or whoever's, in the future,
Right.
if something's not right, but.
Right, so we just, I just thought it'd be better to keep it with Banning being the only ones who can make, updates or changes to it, since it's on their server, and it shouldn't be too
Do
much
they
of
give
a charge.
charges for every change, or? No.
No,
Free of charge.
yeah, I mean, they charged us for the creation of it, and we already paid for that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they even have an annual fee for us to use it. It's just, they've already created it, put it out there, and once we publish it on the website, the nice thing about it is anybody can click on a property things up for you know, Pete or any other town manager in the future of this is, you know, yeah, you need
Permits.
permits for this, or, you can add this, you can't add that, you know, that kind of stuff, so it'll be very helpful,
Yeah, that definitely would be for.
interactive document.
I'm probably wrong about this, but I thought I noticed that the conservation area that the school has, it's fenced off, that shows as a park, and I thought it said it's town property, but I could be wrong on that.
We just have to get their map pulled up and
Yeah.
sit down and.
Because which I was kind of intrigued by this, when I click on any Mill Creek, property, it gives an owner in Brownsburg. There's a company in Brownsburg that owns all the property that Mill Creek sits on. I thought that was weird. I didn't know why it didn't belong to Mill Creek Schools or something, but it's a private real estate company up in Brownsburg that owns every property that Mill Creek Schools sits on.
Unless they created a private business to hold it, like a holding company.
Strange, very strange.
And what about as far as the UDO updates? I know we had discussed some of the updates that didn't align with things that have been approved through the town council through the years. We had talked about that. Is that something that we just, Pete goes to them and they fix that, rewrite it for that?
Well, it's not as easy as rewriting it, because it has to go through the proper steps of being approved. But Pete and I met with Mary Strotter today, from Brandon Engineering, the planner, and she, has the copy of the UDO and the comprehensive plan, and, she has kind of a limited budget. We approved $3,000 for her, from the town council to work on fixing some of those inconsistencies and, things that didn't align with what we're already doing in town. But she's gonna start working on that. She did ask me today to say, can this group put together your own individual, hey, here's what I saw that needs to be fixed, and then either email Pete or email her directly. She's in one of the email groups that we've, talked with, but that way she's not spending all of that $3,000 just on searching for problems.
Makes
We've
sense.
communicated those problems to her, and then she just has to work on the solutions to it.
Right, like I identified some of them with Pete and talked with Pete and in the group last time. That makes sense, cause I know there's a portion where we have to put together a proposal, I think, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, and then, the chair goes to the council and says, this is what we have, will you guys vote on this update? If I remember correctly, I don't know if that was the exact portion, but I think that was what I was
The town
reading.
council has to approve any changes or edits to the, UDO, but, yeah, once we've worked through, you know, as much of those issues as we can, then we just put together a document that says, here's what we're updating our UDO to say, whether it's better definitions of mixed use, or better definitions of, you know, accessory structures, or, you know, any of those kinds of things. We had talked about, we have R1 through R5 on residential zones. We don't use all those in town, so do we really need 5 different residential zoning classifications, or are there any that can be merged together and, you know, have R3 and R4 and R5 or something? I mean, why have R1 if nobody in town is designated as an R1?
Right, that makes sense,
Kind of thing.
declutter it.
But, so then, what were some of the other things we talked about today with her?
Pretty much, you covered about, website, people can look it up themselves if they wanted to, you know, whether they have to have a permit or not.
That makes sense to go along with like the interactive map and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we put our UDO online as well, I don't know if they were thinking about doing that, but if it interacts with the map, that would be, if you had a permits page, that would, you know, like a quick bulletin permit page, that would help people in town if they wanna put a bigger shed in, more than 200 square feet, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
something like that, whatever it is, but.
Yeah, it's hard to, I mean, there's no legal requirement, at the state level that says, here's, when you have to have a permit or when you don't. It's up to each, local municipality or local entity to decide that. I know the county's much more, restrictive on that. They basically say anytime you're swinging a hammer, you need a permit. I don't know that the town needs to be that, you know, strict. But that's kind of one of those things to think about is how, you know, how specific or how broad do we wanna be in requiring permits in town? The big thing for the county is they get to assess your property better the more we do permits. So they constantly bug Pete about, hey, how many new permits did you issue? Because then they get to tack on extra tax dollars to that property because they put on a porch or they put on an accessory bus.
Yeah, swimming pool, yeah.
Swimming pool, or whatever, right.
No, they
So
wouldn't
they
do
just,
that.
you know, they like to,
So I don't need to wait now. If I issue one, I go ahead and send it to him right away. So I don't
So I'll
forget.
save a phone call.
But he still doesn't always, he still doesn't always get it.
No, and then, he still bugs me, even if I send it to him right away,
Right.
to double check.
Yeah.
And they send people out too, I guess.
Oh, they're all over the place.
Oh, yeah, cause he'll contact me and say, hey, are you aware of this?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, yeah. The swimming pool's a big one. They like
Yeah.
swimming pools. And the decks and the power that goes with it.
Right.
Okay. So we'll just work on getting all those issues that we find and get them over to Pete so he can get them, or straight to Mary. But I think if Pete has it and then forwards it, then he can say, hey, we did get all this collectively together to give to you in case something gets missed. That way we have record from all of us.
yeah. So if you're going through the UDO and you have questions, like why is this there? That would be a good thing to send to Pete, and then he can decide whether or not, okay, does this need to go on to Mary, or is this something that we can solve internally, that kind of thing, but it's definitely gonna be helpful to clean that document up. You know, what are, you know, what's the acceptable use schedule, really, what's our end result on that, what do we want it to look like? I mean, our daycare center over here is not in compliance with our UDO. There's not supposed to be a daycare in a town business district building. Why? I have no idea, but, so we just need to fix that.
Right,
And
exactly.
same with, you know,
Setbacks.
setbacks in
Yeah.
the town business district, or,
There's verbiage in there that doesn't fit other businesses in town.
right, signs,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And we'll, like I said, Mary's gonna work with us, and help us figure out, you know, best language to use in that, clean it up, make it, you know, make it something that's a better usable document for Clayton.
That, and it makes more sense if it's cleaned up for the businesses that have been here for a long time. And were approved and everything, you know, former councils, whatever, to get handled right. So that way it looks, they should have been updated when they got it approved years ago or whatever. Okay. Did you have anything else on, or any more updates on this, the wayfinding signs or?
Yeah, I brought it up, I think, at a couple meetings back, that and it may have just been casual after talk, but I think the best way around it is we don't have to have a permit to put the banners up on the power poles. So we just purchase banners that have wayfinding directions on them, and we can put them up wherever and whenever we want.
You mean like the cloth, like the,
Yeah, like, well, I don't know if that'd be cloth, but
Kansas, whatever.
yeah, that's what I was trying to think, like the
Yeah.
ones that they, that the,
yeah, probably something that could be a little more rigid or whatever, and we just put them up and make changes as needed. And then we don't have to have permits for anything.
Yeah.
that's a good
They got
idea.
banners, I don't know if it's cloth, but they got little pinholes in them. So they do let air through them, because what we have right now is solid, and they catch every bit of the wind, and that's why they breaking poles off and everything else.
Right,
So I need to check in if we're gonna do
yeah,
that.
perforated
Yes,
material.
and they're so fine, you can't really see them anyway, you know, Plainfield has them like that.
I've seen signs like that before.
Where the wind doesn't catch it all and bend them and break the poles off.
Man, that's an excellent idea, I don't,
The state won't have anything to say about that, right? Because they don't have anything to say about the.
No, they-
Right, yeah, they've not ever, like, contacted us and said, oh, you can't have those military banners up,
Yeah.
or the Welcome to Clayton banners up, or, yeah.
Is there any?
It's on a Duke Energy pole.
Right,
So their big thing with the, like, the speed limit signs was, what kind of pole do you have it on, is it breakaway, is it the appropriate design, all this stuff, well, the state can argue with Duke Energy if they want, if they don't like the power poles, so.
right. We can't hang the speed limit thing off the power pole, can we?
We probably could, but
Till we get our hands slapped.
What do you want to hang?
I mean,
Speed limit radar thing.
the radar
yeah, you
spots
might be,
Oh,
you might be
oh.
able to, yeah.
You think we
mount
can do
those
that?
on, the power poles, we could try it.
Cause isn't there a big concern, the liability of somebody hitting the thing that's holding the
That's what they seem to
sign or the,
tell me the last time I talked to them about it, is that you know, they had that hang up.
Yeah.
I signed the waiver, I mean, I don't know what else you want. But they still,
They ought to make a mount to that pole.
and I think we budgeted in some extra money for the next year for town decorations and signage, didn't we?
Yeah, because we was talking about the plug-ins, well, we didn't have the decorations yet.
well, and we moved $83,000 into, rainy day funds.
Yeah. There's all that.
So the next step for that would be to get a proposal together, find out what the cost would be for how many signs we need
Right.
around
And
town, and then we put the proposal
What we
together,
wear, yeah.
push it to the council for approval to do.
Does it have to, would the town council have to approve the design and everything, or do we just need to approve that what we're doing?
I don't think that they would have to approve the design, I think that, you know, as long as it's aesthetically pleasing and
Right,
that kind of stuff is.
Right. okay.
But, there's also, I don't know, with commuting back and forth to Avon, Avon has started a process with their banners where local businesses buy the banner, and then they get to put their little logo down in the bottom corner of it. And then the majority of the banner still has the Avon message, welcome to Avon, or green, season's greetings, or whatever it is. But the business has their little advertising logo. So I don't know if, you know, next time we talk to the town council is, you know, is that an option of Dean Diotto wants to buy 5 of these banners, and
Right.
so they can put their logo on it. And then those go up around town, and it's a win-win. He gets to advertise, we get a banner, doesn't come out of our budget.
Right.
Question is who, when they fade or they tear, cause of it eventually being cloth or not metal signs, they
Right.
would have to be replaced.
Sure.
How would you
Here's the forecast
go
for
about
tomorrow.
that?
Look for lots of
Like, would you
clouds.
say it's a term, like your advertisement's like a term of
Like Buckler.
3 years or 5 years, depending on the life cycle of the manufacturer, saying the sign should last, X. I mean, cause I could see that coming up in conversation as you're talking to the different businesses, at that point, would you wanna renew it or not, or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it being any different than any other, advertising kind of idea. I mean, you advertise on a sign down there on 40, if the owner of that sign said, hey, I'm gonna repaint this, do you wanna put a new sign on it after I repaint it and pay me some more money, or do you, so.
No, I was just saying that might be a thing that comes up, if you do that. Just to think about, say you got 5 or 6 businesses the first go around, and then all of a sudden you don't have any. The next go around, when they need replaced, the town would have to be prepared to absorb whatever that cost for those signs would be, is all.
Sure.
The,
I mean, it's,
the DAR folks don't designate what poles they wanna use, do they? I don't recall that happening. They just want.
they just tell us how many
Right,
got purchased, and that they have to go up from May 31st to May 31st. And so, which I haven't heard from Rhonda this year on if they've gotten any yet, but I think the deadline is the 15th of this month.
okay,
Anyway, so,
we have extra poles.
right, and we can order more brackets and put, we have poles that don't have brackets on them,
Yeah.
so we have
Okay. That's,
a lot of options with that.
So you will get an idea
mm-hmm,
from a vendor to try to put a proposal together.
mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much updating all that. I know I'll go back through my notes and re-give everything in an email that we had discussed.
Yeah, you want
Um,
me to come see you tomorrow, or give you a little more time?
give me a little more time.
Okay,
I was up most of the night last night.
okay.
We're running on E tonight.
As long as he's making money,
Trying.
You were partying then.
No, I'm too old for all that.
Listen to it.
No, the next morning's hurt after that. Do you have anything you wanted to add about the UDO or the updates or anything else other than, okay.
I got a question. I have a copy of Dave's letter here for the annexation. January 7th is the first Tuesday, is that when you wanna have that meeting?
I mean, we can, it's the first
Or
of
do
the
you want a
year.
different date? So all I gotta do is add in the date.
I know people are gonna be coming off a busy time after Christmas, New Year's and all that, trying to get, and
We can put
we,
any date you want.
I mean, we could, I know it's a, if we wanna hold it the same time we're holding a regular meeting, put 2 birds with 1 stone, I personally think a February meeting would be better. That gets everybody through the holidays, gets,
February.
people time to kind of mellow out, cause I'm sure being with your mother and father-in-laws and things like that, it's kind of stressful. So, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think, me personally, I think that would give people, it would be less stressful on people to do.
I think whatever date we pick is, there's gonna be people who aren't gonna be able to make it, there's gonna be people who will be able to make it. It's just a matter of
out some kind of a, end timeline like we did with the township by March 30th or whatever that was?
Not for annexation.
Not for annexation, right? We're not-
That's for if you're doing a fire territory, you have that deadline. If you're doing a cumulative capital development plan, you have to have that by May. I mean, there's certain deadlines
Right.
for things. Annexation has no
Okay.
deadlines.
So,
You can pretty much just annex any time of the year. The way Plainfield's been doing it, they've been doing annexations back to back. As soon as they get one finished, the ink's not even dry and they're already starting on the second one. And it's, because they're leapfrogging off of the other annexation, because you have to have 1/8 contiguous.
Right.
So they have this goal, so they gotta annex these 3 properties, but it has to be 3 different times because of the connection
Yep.
to 1/8 contiguous. Just like with what, Brenneman has mentioned, he said, well, if you're gonna annex, just annex all of it. Well, you can't, unfortunately. Cause you have it divided up into these different sections, so you have to do one at a time,
Even though it's the same owner.
even though it's the same owner. Unless he wants to go through the process of dissolving the division between the properties at the county records office. Which is, he has to come to this group and or the BZA group, and he has to apply for that change.
Is there a fee for that?
There is.
And is there advantages to that or disadvantages?
Well, I mean, like with what Dwayne Lane did the same thing with the Trump property on, east of Nick's place there. So it was divided up into, what was it, 6 different parcels there, or 5 different parcels? And he wanted it in just 3 parcels because of the setbacks and stuff.
Okay.
So he went through that process of applying to have those lines erased in between 2 of them, or whatever it was.
Yeah, he got rid of the old parcels and made them one.
So it wouldn't affect farmland then as much as it would in-town land as far as setbacks and all that.
Right.
The only way that
Just a
affects
matter of
them
if he wanted it all annexed at one time, he would have to erase the lines first. But, yeah, if that's the only advantage, it's not worth doing it. Just the annexation can take place.
Cause it wouldn't affect his
Pretty much.
taxes or anything else.
The only thing that would affect too is if he went to sell, so let's say in the future they wanted to build a retail gas station or a store or something, and you have a parcel, it's all parceled right now down 39, 5-acre lots or something.
Yeah.
If you erase it all, it's one big property, and he's gotta have surveyor come back and reparcel it back off.
Yeah, if he wanted to section it.
Correct, like if he wanted to section it off to build, on 2 or 3 acres, whatever.
Like what Anthony did down in Michigan
Yeah.
with those 3, the Addison subdivision.
So we'll be looking at the February 4th meeting then?
It didn't necessarily have to be on the same day as the meeting, but I mean,
Maybe we should have it on a different day, and that way on February 4th, we can get all our ducks in a row, finalize the discussion for town annexation meeting, and then have the town annexation meeting on another night that week.
Well, cause right now we're just getting, to my understanding, we're having a pre-meeting with them, their thought process, so we can put a proposal together. Correct, I mean, that was still the agenda, there's still,
And then do you wanna have it at 6
So,
or
I mean-
7, to allow people to get to the meeting rather than at 6?
I
Or
think
pushes,
6:37 helps people get off work and get home.
7
Yeah,
o'clock.
Yeah,
Okay, 7 p.m.
and then if you guys wanna hold it on a different date, we could do, let's see, we could, do maybe January 21st, and that gives us a week and a half to kind of,
Okay, January 21st at 7 PM.
I mean, that would give us time for us individually to process the information that we got. Then when we come to February's meeting, I mean, that makes a lot more sense.
What day is it?
That's Tuesday,
Tuesday.
21st, 7 p.m., okay.
Is all the land we're planning to annex farmland?
No,
No,
Be-
You said the annex farmland, right?
Is all the property we would like to annex farmland?
I got my glasses on, but I couldn't hear.
I don't have glasses on.
no, it's not all farmland. There's a lot of properties that have houses and stuff on it around my town of Clayton.
and for this meeting on the 21st, we are not wanting to have the financial advisors or the lawyers here at that meeting, correct?
I don't see a reason to. To me, this is more of a, I wanna bring people in and get their pros and cons of being annexed and do it more of a, what do you call that, an informal conversation with them instead of a formal with the law, the legal people here, so that way they don't feel like we're just bombarding them again. You know, and then we can then we can take their information, our information, collectively put it together, get with our legal team, and do an official proposal. This is how we're doing it. You know, and here's some of the things that we identified that maybe need changed or updated or whatever to get people to join the town. Because the 4th is our easy day. And then,
I would recommend if you send those letters out right away,
I thought I'd wait, what, at least 2 weeks prior? Cause they might, like, if I send them out tomorrow, and they get them in 4 or 5 days, they might be tossed in the trash by the time the meeting comes around, you know, I don't know.
well, I mean, you can notify them and just,
well, I was
that
just
gives them
gonna
a month in advance.
suggest that, you know, if you send it out right away, then we would wanna send a reminder postcard or something in the last week of January or the first week of February. So the more information, the better. So if you send that letter out next week, then the last week of January, first week of February, a postcard reminder goes to the same addresses.
You have to send that.
Well, we're having
You
it on
have
the
to-
21st of
Yeah,
January.
you'd have to mail that the 6th probably as the reminder postcard.
Oh, I thought you said 21st of February.
No,
No,
21st of
January.
January.
January, okay.
That way February 1st we can, or February 4th, the regular meeting, we can discuss as a group what the information we've gathered to try to formulate an official proposal.
All right. Yeah, so if you send those out now,
Okay.
then in, you know, the second week of January, a postcard should be sent out to those same addresses, just a reminder, this informational meeting is occurring on the 21st.
That's set.
Hope to see you there. Heads up.
Posted on the town's website too.
I mean, cause we pretty much still have all the paperwork from the last annexation. I would think, you know, we know the rules, what we can do and what we can't do, those kinds of things, but, so if there's those kind of questions, we can answer them. So, if we don't have it, I'll get with Pete, figure out, go back through my stuff and pull that stuff out. But other than that, I don't have anything else for this evening. Does anyone else? Okay, I will call December's meeting closed.